All right, so we're going to cover our stations for our processing here at the homestead. And this is just some good ideas for you guys to consider if you're processing birds at your house or your homestead and you haven't gotten all of the equipment set up. You can do this for pretty low budget, different ways of doing it. You can get all the fancy equipment, or you can break it down and do it really, really simple. So we simply just use a little piece of wire right here to make a small holding pen for our birds to bring them from the place where they've been being raised to here. It's literally, I think there's like 30 birds in here right now being held for us. They've reached maturity and we're ready to process them. So holding pen close to your kill cones is the first step in your process. All right, so this is our kill cone station. We just have 2 trays that we hang our kill cones between. These are our homemade kill cones. We have a video for those, how to make them out of 5-gallon buckets. Once again, down and dirty, budget-friendly way of processing birds at your homestead. You can use some leftover 5-gallon buckets and save yourself some money instead of going and buying the expensive stainless steel kill cones. Don't get me wrong, having all of the equipment that's manufactured is nice, but this is a way to save some money and to not put all that money in the beginning of your meat bird production side of things. So we have kill cones hanging there. The bird simply slides into here. We hold the neck down and we bleed it out. Below it, we put a tarp with some mulch, and that way it just is somewhere that we can gather up and capture all of the blood that's drained out, and that way we can take it over to the garden and use it to break down for compost. So we've gone from our holding pen to our kill cones, and now we're at the scalder. We took a turkey deep fryer and modified it with a gas line that runs from our house gas supply. So we're not running off of LPG, we're running off of natural gas, so we have a constant gas supply with a simple adjustment on the side to control our flame. So we use a turkey frying bucket. We put a couple drops of Dawn soap into it to break down the oils and help the feathers release from the carcass. And we go ahead and keep the temperature right at about 150 is what we found out works best for us to control the temperature in that range. They say 130 to 170, but you don't want to get over that 170 because then you start cooking your chicken and that doesn't accomplish the task that you want to. So about 150 is where we moderate that temperature at right there. And just by turning the flame up and down, we give it a stir once in a while just to make sure that we're mixing things up and make sure that the temperature is staying leveled out. But you simply just dunk the chicken in. And one of the ways that you know that the temperature is correct is when you dunk the chicken in and you hold them by their toes and the skin starts to release from around the ankles at the feet, then you know that the chicken is starting to release its feathers to go towards the plucker. So we have our yard bird chicken plucker. I'm gonna be very honest with you up front. We're not in love with the yard bird chicken plucker. It's about $500 and we've not had a lot of high success with it with our birds that get in the higher weights of over 5-6 pounds. It starts bogging down and it's just not generally assembled in the best way. So no offense against Yardbird, but I would not recommend them. It's a purchase that we made. It's what we use, and having a plucker makes all the world of difference, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to invest in the one piece of equipment that you really can't manufacture yourself that easily, it would be a plucker. So we recommend the Featherman plucker. We've not personally used them, but they have huge reviews from all the homesteaders out there. And we know that they are a proven product. So like I said, having the plucker makes a world of difference. It does take your hand plucking time and reduce it by leaps and bounds. So it makes the operation go way quicker. So simple water connection that adds the water into the bucket here. Our on-off button is just up here suspended so we can reach it. And then the feathers come out down here in the bucket below. Take yourself an old 5-gallon bucket, drill some holes in it so that the feathers can be collected from your plucker if you have one that has a 5-gallon collection system. And that way it's just less water and more feathers and less emptying of your feathers. Having a plucker makes a world of difference. If you're doing any more than a handful of birds and you're doing it a couple times a year, don't skimp on investing on a plucker. It's worth it. All right, so over here is our chicken processing table that we use to do the gutting and cleaning. We have a couple slinky hoses set up with some water spigots on them, just so that we have easy access to the hoses. And then we have our knives here. We have the plastic tables. Once again, stainless steel is nice to have, but the plastic tables are easy to clean, they're easy to come by and get, and they're easily replaceable. We go ahead and we just set them up to where we butcher on this side of the table, and then all of the discarded products from the animals come down here, and we have 5-gallon buckets to catch the entrails and all that stuff into here. So, and it's right off the lip of the table. Once again, less work, just slide it down, have your carcass that sits up high up here, and everything else goes downhill of it, and then we give it a hose off in between. We have a simple bleach solution that will just stop intermittently throughout the day, hose it down, clean it off, and keep our work area clean. So we do have these tables just slightly tipped downhill, and then that way the water and all of the byproducts go away from where you're working on the uphill side here. So the other thing at your butcher station that's nice to have is good sharp knives. We got these off of Amazon. We've got the Warthog sharpener that we use throughout the day just to keep a nice edge on them, and having nice sharp knives that are easy to clean up and store after you're done is nice to have. So grab yourself some knives and have some knives that you set aside just for your meat processing activities. So this is our Warthog sharpener that I was talking about. It just helps to have something nice and easy to keep an edge on your knife throughout the day. It's spring actuated, so you just take your knife out, and throughout the day you just give it a rinse off, and then you come over to it, you run it through it a few times, and it puts an edge back on your knife and stops it from dulling out. So super easy. Having the right tools for the right job makes all the difference in just doing it easily. So you run it through 6-7 times, and it puts an edge back on it, and you can just go back to work and use your knives throughout the day. All right, so the last station that we go to before we go into the bagging process is our chilling station. And one of the easiest things that we've found to use is unused clean garbage cans. We bought 2 of these, we set them aside, and we don't use them except for our animal processing. And so we just simply fill them half full of water, and then we put some bags of ice in there, and it creates an easy, deep chill tank for us to keep on hand here. So having these has been, once again, a very cost-effective way. Instead of going and trying to find dunk tanks and all those different types of things, is just using the buckets here that we keep set aside for meat processing day. So, and that way we put it right here next to this table, because then once they're chilled and we're ready to bag, we go ahead and we simply bag the bird up into the bags that we dunk into the clean water, and the turkey fryer, we switch out the water from it, we clean it out, and then we put water in there that's about just under 200 degrees. So it's about 95 to 200 degrees. You put the chicken in the bag, you zip tie it, you drop it in there, and it seals around it, and then your bird's ready for your freezer storage.